I tried to make a thumbnail with this several times, but I couldn't figure out how to do it on my Chromebook, and then I couldn't edit it on my phone. So here I am at 7 o'clock. Got everything here. And I probably should wait a few minutes for some people to come on. Oh no, there's somebody there. Hello. Um, I would love to know, please, if you can hear me. Once again, I plugged this in. I think it's in all the way. But I don't know. So let's see. Welcome. I'm going to go to chat. Welcome. Okay, so I plugged it in, and I'm pretty sure everything is, I mean, it usually does. Yes, it's working. Got my water bottle. I did a whole lot of nothing today. I'm feeling pretty sore. I've done a lot of work, hard work at the gym for the past 28 days. Oh, damn it all. Probably should have some hot tea. Whoa. That was right in your ear. My goodness. This is live. I can't edit that out. Hello, hello. And I don't have any hot tea here. So this live stream is what you would consider very deep, okay? It's more psychological. It's more psycho-spiritual. Also, it is not just for women. It is also for men. So if you're here, please let me know you're here. I just got back from the gym. I just did some stretching. That's all I did over there today. Very tired, and I think I'm dehydrated. I have something that I will show you here in a few minutes, but it is about my shamanic dream journey, which I mentioned on my recent video, and I think on my last live. And I hope that you ask me questions. The goddess-based path is a path of women, about women, for women, and is used for the benefit of women, really. It incorporates both the goddess and the god. It brings back into a spiritual practice of both the god and the goddess for balance, okay? The same way that it takes those two energies to create life, we have both the masculine divine and the feminine divine. Now, in the first book that I got on witchcraft, which was probably the third book that I was actually led to purchase when I was going to Barnes & Noble, it had in the front there something called The Charge of the Goddess. Now, we say that meditation is the foundation of this practice and extremely helpful for getting in touch with your natal chart in the form of feelings, impressions, maybe an image, a vision. It is a way for you to open up your inner compass and let your natal chart guide you to do the things that you are meant to come here to do, and also to alert you to things coming up, things that are dangerous, things that are not safe. Developing that sixth sense. The charge of the goddess is really about a woman being able to get in touch with her inner divinity, Guys, this is good for you to know as well. We have both male and female within us. There's a lot of craziness going on right now about that. It's not understood as a spiritual concept, but that is what it is. We say that the earth relates to the goddess and the feminine divine because of the fact that you plant seed in the soil, like the egg in the uterus. It's nurtured and it's nourished by the sun and the water, and then life sprouts up from the soil. The plant is given birth from the soil, like the woman gives birth and brings life into the world. This is considered a feminine aspect, a goddess aspect. And then, of course, masculine is about breaking things down so that they can be rebuilt. For me, and I think for many women, and even our society, if we wanted to get into that, the concept of the woman being more than just a mother and really being the um, other half of the relationship and the partnership in an intimate way, and not subservient or anything like that. She has been basically relegated by mainstream religion into a role of motherhood. I've said this before. I think it's because they don't want to bring up the issue of sex in church. There's little children that come there. So, but the charge of the goddess is about taking this inner journey and getting in touch with one of these aspects that lives within us. And when you have had ingrained in you your entire life, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, God, 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 what else do you know? I need to get my other tarot card because I was led to talk about this. This represents the triple goddess, but I believe it's the Five of Pentacles, where the two people are out in the snow. One of the meanings of that card is being left out in the cold. And Silver Raven Wolf said that in her book when I was reading it, is that in this type of ideology, where it's all about God, 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 and women are relegated and revered as mothers, right? But the issue of becoming a truly equal partner that can bring forth life, and it was not talked about in that way. I was raised in a Christian church. A lot of the time, I used to say unfortunately. Now I say fortunately, because I've learned a lot and I studied hard. And so I can quote scripture. And I'm telling you, there was never anything about a feminine divine ever mentioned, and only one angel. This was Southern Baptist Church when I was growing up, and I would go to visit my great aunt and my great uncle. I'm sorry to see I don't have anybody here. I am kind of sad about it, except that I know it's July, and I wonder if I should just go away for a few minutes, take out my recycle, and give people a chance to come on. Okay? I would like for men to understand that females need to know about this part of themselves. Just like Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, a woman has these three aspects within her as well: maiden, mother, and crone. And it's not called mother, daughter, and Holy Ghost, but I think it's very much, the crone is very much like the higher self, or possibly the Holy Ghost. Very similar, if not identical, and expressed in a slightly different way. Until I saw these three aspects of myself in my dream journey, I did not heal. I was a mess. I felt like a second-class citizen. I definitely had no deity to relate to. I felt like I was out in the cold. And I know a lot of us are not in touch with that so much until we start to have an identity crisis. And all of it implodes upon us. And unfortunately, it ends up breaking up relationships. There's just no meeting of the minds. There's no real trying to understand why the female is not happy and never feels comfortable in her skin or really truly comfortable in a relationship unless it's a very good one. So I'm going to go take out the recycle and I will be back. I see some people come and go for whatever reason. Maybe because I start talking about what I did today, going to the gym, working out. You should see my muscles. I'm getting strong, I'm getting healthy, and my sinus infection has finally gone away, guys. You don't know what this means. Going on a break. Be right back. I hope this gives some people time to come on. Back up. All right, I'm sorry about that. It's the thing about lives. You cannot stop and then edit. Maybe you can see how deeply emotional I am. So, I didn't grab my tarot cards. And I didn't grab the book from Silver Raven Wolf because you can probably look it up or buy the book and read The Charge of the Goddess. In some cases, I think it's called Drawing Down the Moon. The moon corresponds to the goddess and water. The moon is also considered the mind, and water the emotions. And this is another area of the goddess and the feminine divine. And these are aspects that a lot of men have started to get in touch with, I think. I started hearing about it 20 years ago. I'm getting in touch with my feminine side. And what that means is being able to nurture. I just saw a billboard sign with a man holding a baby, and it said, "Real men are loving dads," something like that. But this concept for women is vitally important. And this exercise called the Charge of the Goddess is extremely important. Now, there's another one you might have heard of called The Lady. What's it called? I'm going to have to go get the book. I don't think it's The Lady of the Lake. But my dream was very similar to two of these exercises that are used in the old religion. And it's about journeying up to a house and then meeting your three inner parts, the mother, the maiden, and the crone. Similar to the Lady of the Lake, I think. So this knowledge was probably already in me from past lives. And as I had been doing mindful meditation to come out of my clinical depression and trying to realize, who am I? That was my question. Who am I, really? Nothing that I've been taught is working. Nothing works for me. Nothing is making my life easier. And this had to do with how I had been taught to defer to the masculine in every sense of the word. Oh Lord, oh God. And maybe you're here for the first time and you're hearing this for the first time and you're starting to understand. This is why I'm not feeling like part of this world or this society. And so I had this astral travel after several weeks of this deep practice of mindful meditation almost every single day. And I had laid back and I had actually prayed to the Creator either to take my life, take me, or show me another way to live. And this is when I had my dream journey. Now, I have dozens of notebooks where I've chronicled or documented my thoughts and my feelings, and even a lot of my tarot card readings in all of their placements, which I didn't need to do. Fortunately, I went to the library and I started printing out every single chapter at the library over and over again about all the things that really were happening to me. And I didn't even know what I had at the time was called a shamanic dream journey. And I did end up calling this Touched by the Goddess. And so hopefully everything old will be new again, and we'll have a whole new appreciation for this concept. And men will start to realize that maybe their wives are depressed and unhappy because they have only been taught about the Lord and the God. And you're not actually treating her like the lady or the goddess. They used to do that in old England. They'd call each other my lord and my lady. This is the sort of ministry that I've been led to start here on YouTube, and it has been a long journey, and I don't know really where I'm going to be led to go. I was recently asked if I would go to All Souls Church and give some kind of instruction for an hour and a half to children between the ages of 5 and maybe 10 who I guess can't sit still inside the temple while they're having service, and they would pay me. But there was an incredible amount of growth that I was experiencing after the shamanic dream journey. And the reason why it's called the Path of the Mysteries is because it's really, really mysterious. There's a lot of paranormal things that can happen and did happen to me. And then all of these realms and dimensions that we are really not understanding or being guided to understand. And so I have a whole bunch of chapters, And there's really no way to make someone understand you. I've had people disrespect me and tell me, so what? And, you're not, it's just ridiculous how people are sometimes. But when it comes to, and these females, by the way, that do contact me and have these issues are definitely out of touch with their feminine divinity because they're hysterical and they're constantly helpless and they're just constantly victimized. And I think this is a side effect of us feeling like we're left out in the cold unless you're part of a spiritual practice that actually has you praying to a goddess as well as a god. A lord, a lady, oh god, oh goddess, for what you need. And maybe someday someone will help me actually turn this into a book. But I ended up discovering that I had entered something called Dharma. And then, of course, from there, I'm still in a body. So I just began to realize that there was still much more work that I had to do and live and go through. And I try to share everything. But this psychospirituality is why I say the goddess needs to return. And I think she's returning. Other people have said the same thing. And it will permeate every aspect of our lives. I think there's going to be great improvements. There's going to be less abusive women and children when we start to have this knowledge and this understanding that women are divine. They're not servants. They're not subordinates. They're not just relegated to motherhood. And I see a lot of that out here in this area of the country. But yeah, women have pushed it so far back, so far down. They don't dare even ask the question. And then probably the other members of the family are just enjoying all of the things that the women are doing for everybody. Only a really good person will say, hey, why don't you pick up a hobby? Or you're so good at this. Why don't you see if you can make a little money at that? There comes a time where you don't need to be nurturing and doting on everybody, you know? There's a book that I was also led to. I either bought it or went to the library, called The Cinderella Complex. Boy, oh boy, did that lady have deep insight. And she had a lot of trouble. She was a writer. And she had a lot of trouble getting people to understand the concept of her book so that they would publish it. It was definitely a book for women. I don't have it now, and I don't know why. I thought I took it when I left. I'm going to have to buy another one. She had some incredibly insightful dreams, and at one point she just wanted to just stop working and just stay home and be a domestic goddess. It was her husband who said, "Why are you not writing anymore? Why are you not using that self expression that you enjoy? Why are you just cooking and cleaning and, all this stuff all the time? Why are you just deferring to me to pay for everything?" And he wasn't a wealthy man, I don't think. So he actually appreciated her contribution financially, which wasn't a lot. She was on, what do you call it? Part-time freelance writer. She had her own struggles about becoming a productive woman who even makes money doing something and not devoting her entire life to being a wife and a mother. Times have changed, okay? And this was her inner struggle. And she had some incredibly insightful dreams. And one of them was her inner twins. And I had a dream about that as well. But in my shamanic dream journey, I think it was an out of body experience because I felt like I died and came back. So the Creator answered my request, please let me go or show me another way to live because I have children and they're too young to lose me. I had declined medication from my counselor and I was doing mindful meditation, listening to guided meditation tapes once or twice a day. And I had my husband take the kids to the park in the afternoon. I said, look, I love you, but mommy needs to lay down and calm my emotions. So in the dream, I was in like a luxury car, like a Lincoln Continental, very, very comfortable. And there was an old man to my right, and I was driving the car. So this was an older man. Now, I was married to an older man at the time. This was a much older man, kind of feeble. And we pulled up a driveway and we started driving up this long driveway. And we got to this huge white house with pillars. So if you know the tarot deck, the priestess sits between two pillars. And I noticed that as we were going uphill to this house, which had to belong to a wealthy person, there was no grass yet. It was just sod. And so all of a sudden, I'm standing in the front entryway. I'd call it the foyer. And there is a candlelight above me. And I see there's, one step down. I see a big, big living room, and I'm aware that there are other rooms, like to the right, would go down the hallway, and there would be bedrooms. And to the left was going to be probably the kitchen. And I remember thinking, where do the kids play? And so I could imagine that there was a big playroom, I guess you call it, an entertainment room. And so there'd be a pool table and a sofa and a TV. Those things I just knew in a split second was all there. This was a house in the astral. I stepped down to the living room, but I turned around to face the front entryway, and someone was coming. Very, very important. I was nervous. And there was two women already there. I didn't recognize them. One was middle-aged, another one was behind her, and she was older, like a grandmother. And the one who was coming was younger. And when she entered, I believe she's some aspect of my higher self. She had very highlighted hair to the point where she almost looked blonde, but she had a heart-shaped face, blue eyes, and thin lips. And this was similar to my great aunt. I was very, very, very nervous for this person to enter and to approve of me. When she entered, she had on a fur coat like a gray wolf. And she had gemstone rings on every finger. She had on pretty beige pumps and the sweetest little smile on her face. She instantly approved of me. Whoever I was, whatever I looked like, that was the feeling I got. And when she said, I love you, I love you, there was like a ping on a xylophone that just vibrated through my entire body. And I said, oh, thank you. You're so sweet. And I went up and I hugged her and I felt all this fur. Now, I had also been listening to a subliminal tape about self-love, and I couldn't conceive of it. I couldn't really imagine it. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to process it. And I would open up the insert from the cassette and I would read it as I took a walk with my kids after dinner. And one of the phrases there was, I love myself. And now I had read this years earlier when I bought the cassette and I put it away because I thought, no, this goes against what I was taught. You should love others more than you should love yourself. But what happened was this person, this maiden, this part of me that probably was my higher self, expressed to me unconditional love. And this is what I needed to feel for myself in order to heal. There were other things that I used to go throughout my day that were unspoken, but always worrying about not making mistakes and being perfect. You can't do that for very long without imploding upon yourself. So I felt this unconditional love for myself. And all of these preconceived ideas of what I have to do and be and feel and all that in order not to go to hell or whatever else, right, were gone. And as a result, I started having a lot of my psychic centers open up. I became telepathic. I became more clairvoyant, and clairaudience and clairsentience also opened up within me. And this is why I had so many experiences after that that were not only paranormal with being able to contact other dimensions, but also energy. Energy was able to flow through me and I could use it. I'd seen things happen. And so I had reached this aspect of myself that was necessary and good and made me more whole. Now, as I was standing there looking at these three women, I still had the older man to my left. And this older man could have represented my left side brain, the linear logical side of myself. So I was now whole. I was in touch with the older male aspect and very much in touch with the three female aspects of myself as well. Now, by this time, I had already had my two children, all the children that I was ever going to have or give birth to. So I'd entered the crone phase of my life. I think my daughter was 2. No, I think she was 3. And I'd probably entered that phase several years earlier. I suffered with depression for several years. And so this was an emotional, psycho-spiritual healing that had to occur before I could get anything else in my life managed or straightened out. And any man who really wants to understand the concept of becoming whole should really learn about the feminine aspects. And you also have um, these three parts within you, and they relate to the ego states of the child ego state, the adult ego state, and the parent ego state. And if you've ever seen the movie The Three Faces of Eve, this is demonstrated in real life. It happened to a woman who just had no real role models to give her an indication of how an adult should behave. So yeah, we are spiritual beings inside of a body. And this modern world that we live in, really, um, and still in some countries, I think, is just so male dominated, and women have no say and no rights, and are not acknowledged as being part of the feminine divine. But this is a concept that has to be brought back to society and spiritual ideology in order for things to start to get better. And I hope that men are now hearing this and maybe understanding it in a new way, and that women are coming here and hearing me talk about this. Nobody has come tonight. And, YouTube is not spiritual tube. So, joining a organization that is goddess based, which would be probably true witchcraft. And Wicca definitely acknowledges both the god and the goddess, but it's not called Witche, which is a woman. It's called Wicca. A man created it. So the man wanted to get in touch with his feminine side and, do the same things the women, learn about what the women were learning and doing, which is great. But again, this is a practice under the umbrella with a name that is male. It should be Wicca Witche or something like that, honestly. But again, it's like, I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. But this is why I say I'm not Wiccan. A Wicca is a man. I'm a witche. Why would I want to go back to that? Okay, well, I've had my whole big spiel. Hello, whoever's there. And I was going to get off because nobody came. I don't know why. I got very emotional. I had to take a little break. And I tried to understand or explain the true benefits psychologically, emotionally, and even society-wise is to bringing back the concept of the triple goddess. And if you can find an organization that uses that, great. But I even saw one time years ago Pat Robertson on the 700 Club ridiculing women who were doing a ceremony to celebrate the goddess, and they had a big bowl of milk and everything because they weren't acknowledging the god. Well, we didn't see the whole ceremony, did we? And women need to spend more time learning what it means to get in touch with that feminine aspect of themselves. Now, we also have something called relational selves, and we have inner twins. We have many parts. And so a lot of them are represented by role models who raise us. And if you have people that are very grounded and stable, thank you for the like, then you're probably going to be more of a mature, stable, grounded person entering your adult parent state easier than others who don't. So, if there's anyone that wants to say anything or share, we can use a different name. You can be anonymous, whatever. But I'm talking about the old religion and the goddess based path. And understanding this is good for men, it's vital for women. And I do think society would improve. I really do. So, what do you think? What do you say? Now's the time for questions. I've been talking for 40 minutes. Say hello. So, in a way, if men are doing things that are more related to uh, a gathering, right? Planting a garden, planting vegetables, growing herbs, this is very much the correspondences of what we call goddess energy. Masculinity would probably be the tilling of the earth, breaking it down, getting it ready, getting rid of the old stuff and getting ready for the new. So, I have really described my shamanic dream journey and explained the charge of the goddess. So, if these are things that I think you could look up on Google. You could also look up the Lady of the Lake. You could look up shamanic dream journey, and then of course you can look up the triple goddess and look at understanding. If you don't already understand the old religion that really incorporated both the god and the goddess. But I think that re-entering or leaving a one-sided patriarchal ideology, the charge of the goddess is vitally important for a woman. That should probably be the first thing that you do, to get in touch with that feminine aspect of yourself. And whether or not you have children, I think you're still going to go through those 3 phases, maiden, and then in your 30s and 40s, and then in your 50s. Um, Whether you were a mother or not, maybe you had pets, maybe you were nurturing your nieces and nephews, and then you enter the crone phase, I guess sometime in your, menopause, probably. So, yeah, it has been very challenging for me as a female, being alone, being a solitary, and I've had to connect through books and try to connect with people online as far as YouTube, really, because the groups that I tried to join online were full of people that were young and thought they knew it all, and I couldn't take it. So I just stopped trying to join any kind of a group online. That was very short-lived, very short-lived. But I did get my children involved in understanding these seasons, such as spring, Beltane and May Day, and we made a May Day flag. And I talked about how the snow out here was melting, spring was coming, we were getting ready to plant seeds, and we bought some seeds and some pots and plants and dirt. And I got my daughter and my son involved, and I shared with them because they saw me go through everything. They saw me go through everything. Um, and after my dream journey, I was just so peaceful, but I felt electric. Like I said, there was just things happening all around me. And they'd ask, "Hey, Mom, can we go to McDonald's today?" I'm like, okay. I just wasn't worrying about all kinds of stuff anymore. And one of my children turned to the other and said, "She said yes. Oh, let's ask her something else. Hey, Mom," or if I think it was first, "Hey, Mom, can we go to the park today?" And that was what I usually did. But, I had stopped doing it because I was meditating in the afternoons and had the father do it for a change. Mom, can you take us to the park today? And I said, okay. Like, oh, she said yes. And then ask her if we can go to McDonald's. And, oh, can we go to McDonald's after that? And I said, okay. She said yes. I was like, oh, sure, why not? It was just very, very healing and very, very good for all of us. Happy wife, happy life. So, all right. Well, nobody said anything or asked me any questions. I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe someone will ask a question or make a comment after this video is posted. All right. So with that, I guess I'm going to say good night, and I hope you find this interesting or helpful. Take care.